This is John Rodriguez, and this is Dexter. Today's Bay Breeze memory is about sailing in Mobile Bay. Several years ago, I was with a client, one of my uber wealthy clients, that's Uber with a capital U. I was telling my client about our upcoming visit to Fairhope and how we had vacationed there going back to my childhood decades and decades ago. And my client was being very nice, and he asked, well, when you were younger, did you ever go sailing in Mobile Bay? And I didn't tell my client, but we were so poor we barely knew what a sailboat was, much less being able to go out and rent one for the day. But I thought, we're not uber wealthy, but we can afford a trip on the bay. So who are you going to call? Miss Becky. Dexter, who are you going to call? Miss Becky. So I called Miss Becky, asked her about sailing, and she said, call Steve McClure. Call Steve McClure. He can take you out on a sailboat, and he's an old family friend. So we finished our conversation, and I didn't wait very long at all. I called Steve McClure, and he said, Miss Becky said you were going to call. So Fairhope, small town. Anyway, we went there, had a great sail with Steve and his wife, and for me, there's something special about being on the water, nothing that's powering you except the wind and a couple of sails. It was a great trip. But then when we got to Fairhope, Miss Becky said, well, I got to tell you a story about Steve McClure when he was a teenager. And of course, Miss Becky was a high school biology teacher. And one day, years and years and years ago, Steve and a couple of boys came by and they had found a snake. So they wanted to show the snake to Miss Becky. And she said, now, boys, we're getting ready to go to Mobile for the opera. I don't have time for that right now. So they walked out. Well, of course, being teenagers, they opened the car door, stick the snake in the car. And, of course, the snake's looking around. He said, well, I don't like this. So he climbs under the dashboard. So anyway, a little while later, Bill, Miss Becky get in the car, drive to Mobile, and I guess it was a chilly night. Bill turns on the heater. Well, now the snake comes out. He pops up. He's looking at Miss Becky. She's looking at him. She said, I screamed. I flipped in the back seat. And then, of course, Bill recognized it was not a dangerous snake, so he kind of quietly pulled over, got the snake, put the snake out in the grass. Everybody's happy. Anyway, small town stuff, Fairhope. Great place to go sailing or just have a good time. That's today's memory, and please share the memory and like the video. Subscribe. We're going to have more stories about Fairhope and Miss Becky. John Rodriguez, and this is Dexter.